Hello. Testing. Alright, safeguard alert shutdowns. Your safeguard alert shutdowns. The alert reset switch with the item 10 for the figure 5 of the manually reset for the alert safety device. The switch may be off with a set time interval with the penalty break application will occur. The alert and promo. The alert promotes safety training with the operator for the monitoring various the operator move with it to ensure for the alertness for the operator crew with the move proper control movement is not detected with the predetermined reset with the time period alarm sequence, including audible visual alarms, is start with requesting the knowledge of the lack of the response of the time of the system during the time will result of the penalty break application. The actual will command the full service break application, bringing the locomotive to a stop. The alert or alarm will flash 5 seconds for the operator with the response of the audible alarm with the sound of the alert with the equalizing reservoir alarm indicate with the continuing flash of the smart screen and continue with the control of the penalty brake application. Note that the alert function is disabled. The brake cylinder pressure is greater than 25 psi, equalizing reservoir pressure less than 10 psi. The alarm bell sound with the operating cable of the locomotive control system detect with the abnormal operation condition of the fault from the initiate with the CCA system or the other system on the locomotive. The CCA system detect with the fault with the message describing the faulty will appear with the message of the smart screen with depending on the fault with the alarm bell ring with the 36 with the ring instantaneously. Some of the computer detect the fault but do not ring the bell with the alarm silent screen figure 29 display with the smart screen with the bell ringing is ringing with the presence of the silence alarm soft key with the cancel the ringing with the bell cancel the alarm silent screen with the return of the smart screen with that was displayed prior with the alarm message with the 30-second fault with the may allow the timeout with which call with the bell stops ringing the alarm silence to disappear with the note. Some fault with the ringing of the bell continues the bell cannot be silent if in this case the alarm silence is not displayed with the bell ringing. Respond with the concerned fault with the train alarm with the training unit that are not initiated with the CCA system with the alarm silence to scream that does not appear with the case of the bell ringing be silenced. Resolve the cause of the alarm. Note the train fault must be reset with the unit and initiated with the alarm. The alarm bell rings continually. The diesel engine shut down. The engine control switch must be placed in the start position to cancel the bell bar over switch. The bearing over switch is located with the diesel engine bearing over the excess cover. The diesel engine will not start with this cover does not replace the engine air filter pressure sensor. The EAFP, or the engine air filter pressure sensor monitoring air pressure drop of the across the air filter. The engine air filter sensor detect the out of range condition. The engine RPMs valve with the combined power handled maximum limited to number not 7. Alright, engine stop emergency fuel cutoff system with the engine emergency on one of the 5 electrical push buttons may be pressed monetarily to cut off the fuel deliver the engine with one of these push buttons located with either side of the locomotive platform near the fuel tank of the 3rd and 4th and 5th push buttons located with the engine control panel the engine station on the A side of the locomotive near the alternator cooling water fill station. And then this shows a picture of the alarm silencing sequence screen. Your ground cutout switch. Only train maintenance personnel should use the ground cutout switch. The operating crew needs to be aware of the locomotive will not load and if the switch is left open. Ground cutout switch is mounted with the control area with the two pole switches connected and sensing the circle to detect with the ground leakage current with the propulsion circuit. One point of the switch is U with the remove the connection from the locomotive frame the chassis to the ground detection circle with the U with the remove the known ground with the performing installation of the test locomotive circuit to remove the non-ground from the troubleshooting of the ground faults. One pole with the one pole switch with the U to disable the control circle with the switch open the control system detect the ground leakage and the propulsion circle will derail locomotive performance based on the ground leakage propulsion linkage volts with the reduce the propulsion ground linkage current as follows. Figure 30 show the engine bearing over switch cover the cooling water green indicator light the engine stop push button the automatic water dump and then you have your pop test switch, engine stop push button. These are your engine stop push button, cooling water indicator, automatic water diaper. Safeguard alert shutdowns continue. Ground current leakage amperes. Monitoring self load 0 to 5 tenths. Dynamic braking 0 to 25 thousandths. Result no deterioration. 0 to 5 monitoring your self load half 0.5 to 93 and monitoring your self load dynamic 0.25 to 0.47. Result propulsion linkage voltage D rated with a portion of the leakage current above 0.93 and above 0.47. Ground current leakage is considered a solid ground fault power will be reduced to 0. When the ground detected alarm will sound the faults will be logged. Motor speed sense for the cutout switch function. No, under the emergency condition of the locomotive may be operated for a short period of time with one more traction motor cut out with referred to the railroad. For specific details of operation, traction motor can be cut out with manually automatic with a manual cut down with a smart screen. Usually individual motor cutout switch will refer to the switches section of the procedure for the cutout motor for the speed sense of the motor and motor are cut out totally power with available the traction adjusted in full horsepower motors cut out 1 through 6 1 and 2 full horsepower, 3 and 4 C note 1, 5 C note 1, 2 6 none. Note 1 horsepower available. The traction motor is limited to 101,201 horsepower per each for the traction motor cut in. Note 2 speed sensor input for the lights. 2 traction motors are required for the locomotive speed. Note for the speed sensor cut out, noting the following: speed sensors do not need to be cut out on the cut motor. The speed sensor switch will only be used with the cutout faulty sensor for the however the ensure for the sensor for the fault will not indicate the load, axle, excess for the wheel slip, etc. When the motor speed sensor cutout switches out with the position speed signal, even the speed sensor is ignored, leaving all the others active. The status message will appear on the smart screen. A minimum of 2 motor speed sensors must be operating with it for the locomotive to load. Dynamic braking cutout switch function. In the same reason, dynamic braking function needs to be manually cut out with the preferred procedures, switches, and sections of the manual. Yeah. Alright, locked axle cutout switch function. Note, before silencing the locked axle alarm, use the switch and ensure that the wheels are rolling foul of the railroad regulations regardless if you use the switch. To manually cut off the locked axle alarm, refer to the procedure switches section of the manual. Oil and water temperature and pressure horsepower engine speed will be altered if one of the following conditions exists. Cold engine. In order to protect the cold engine, restrictions are placed for the engine low speed until the engine temperature has reached 140 degrees Fahrenheit. Higher than more than 3 or higher for more than 3 minutes. Also, keep the engine operating temperature within certain limited engine speed will be altered with temperature drops below 170 degrees Fahrenheit. Hot engine. The engine will operate with a power duration determined by the control system to maintain the cool temperature. It cannot be maintained with the temperature D rate of 0.5 minutes. This system will shut down easily. Shut down the engine. Oil temperature between 185 to 112 degrees. The engine will temperature for the 185 degrees and 10 minutes. The engine RPM has held within 50 notch 8. The engine oil temperature exceeds 180 degrees Fahrenheit with 30 minutes power is derated. If the oil temperature exceeds 225 degrees power is derated immediately. Water temperature above 230 degrees Fahrenheit above the engine water will exceed 230 degrees Fahrenheit. The power is derated from the immediately. Tunnel strategy. The air-to-air fans are commanded with the air-to-air shutter of the MAT with the higher the air ambient temperature is measured with the turbo inlet ambient temperature sensor. The radar is a fan with the ambient temperature is measured with the turbo inlet ambient temperature as sensor is higher than 150 degrees Fahrenheit. Low oil, low water pressure. Low oil, the water and water pressure are monitored by the ECU control. If low oil or low water pressure is detected, engine speed of the power reduced at 1 notch every 20 seconds, 30 seconds of oil. 20 seconds of water or 30 seconds of oil down a notch, and as previously recovered, the notch is increased. Overspeeding engine shutdown. In the event of the engine overspeed with the ECU will shut down the engine, not follow the applicable railroad operating procedure for engine overspeed shutdown. Alright, overspeed locomotive. When the locomotive to quickly overspeed protection exceeds the maximum permissible speed 75 miles an hour, and engine's overspeed application initiated, audible alarms will sound with the speed sounds from the AP. At the time of the speed odometer graphic change to yellow, alerting the operator with the overspeed warning speed range with the red above with the overspeed limit. The penalty brake application initiated immediately, but the train speed has not been reduced sufficiently. 4. Follow the railroad operating procedure for the proper recovery procedure. The power cutoff switch function is operated with electronic air brake, but isn't so the integrated processing modulator during safety control penalty emergency brake application power knockdown. The functions activate with the brake control computer signal from the PCR relay. Will the effect of the engine with the idle available locomotive power all excitation remove with the alternator light. The power cutoff switch with a warning light with the operating screen. Operating options select with the radio will determine the locomotive control setting with the power cutoff switch operating the chief railroad operating procedures. Locomotive air piping electronics schematic diagram application specific locomotive the power control cutoff switch. Reset the power control switch. Cutout switch. Move by the combined power to handle the idle. If the power control switch function has been activated with while dynamic braking, the combined power handle must be returned to the off and reset circuit. If the penalties proceeding step 3 for emergencies, proceed to step 4. Move the automatic penalty automatic brake handle to discussion and wait at least 8 seconds for the power up, overspeed, and other penalty applications to proceed to step 5. 4. Move the automatic brake to the emergency wave at least 60 seconds for the train line operator end of the train brake life emergencies. 5. Move the automatic brake valve handle when instructed and ready to release. No, if the electronic air brake message is activated and the power control switch is open, move the automatic brake valve handle to release. slip. Locomotive computers continuously monitor axle load of the axle and wheel speed of all the axles if compared with the differential speed with the greater the preset limit. The power will be reduced and standard applied. Once the differential will speed fall with the preset limit, the power will return to the motors and per engine load rate schedule. In dynamic braking, the amount of circuit correction of the determining amount of slide with accomplishment so the step they automatically apply the sanding of the leading axle locomotive with a small difference motor speed is in defective with the speed of sanding continue with the 3 seconds after the slide is corrected. When step 1 limited exceeds a small power reduction goes into effect and sanding continues. 3. When step 2 with the unlimited wheel exceed with the moderated power reduction gets in effect with the sanding continues with the large difference of the wheel speeds of the effect with a quick power output removal accompanied with drain line wheel slip indicating results. Wheel slip indicator light on the operator display screen appears. Sanding, automatic. Sanding can be applied automatically as followed if the locomotive axles and wheel slipper slides, synchronizing slip in the condition if the motoring control does not read the correct traction motor torque per supplied horsepower. If the dynamic braking control does not read the correct braking torque per operator request. If the emergency brake application of the locomotive is less than is greater than 0 miles per hour. No automatic sanding is provided with the monitoring dynamic braking modes. Only your operator message screen. Operator message screen provided with a detailed locomotive operating condition may affect the locomotive performance. Railroad operating procedure should guide the operating crew with a use of the screen associated with the function pressing key function F5 operating message of the main operating screen will display operating message full screen of 5000 figure 32 with the screen will display with the all currently active video message of the function keys may activate on support on the screen. Alright, note the operator screen message is displayed on the half screen at 5001, not to show the operator message key is present smart display screen is being used with the gauge screen. In this case, the AR required indicators occupy the upper portion of the screen. The messages are displayed in the middle of the portion of the screen. Key position F1 page down. Allow the operator to scroll down the messages. The down appears only if there are messages that would fit in one screen. Key 2 page up. The operator scrolls up. The message page up appears only if there are more messages that would fit on the screen. Okay, key position 3 F3 reset. All the functions displayed only after only if there are active faults. Pressing it will order the control system reset all the faults which were cleared in level 1. Note, a message on the screen will show the attempt reset due second with summary messages that did not go with attempt to reset was not successful. Key position F8 exit return to main operating screen 0,000. Operator's messaging, and it shows your operator message full screen. Alright, 70, operation.